Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm Nathan, or as you hopefully know me better by now as the Whisky Speaker. Now I have a fantastic pairing of whiskies that I'm going to try and taste and review for you today. As I'm still up in Scotland, as you can probably see from the video previously, the room hasn't changed much, so that gives away that I'm still enjoying myself up here, probably a little bit too much. So today we're going to be talking about the Clydeside Distillery, which I believe was founded in 2017. But just to backtrack, it's situated right in the heart of Glasgow, which was, for the British Empire at least, was the heart pretty much of our export, everything from wool, tobacco and coal, and obviously whiskey. So Glasgow had a phenomenal swathe of distilleries, and over time, unfortunately, they have all been consigned to the history books, except bar one, I believe, which has kept on going since the Victorian period. If I remember, it's the Strathclyde Grain Distillery, and they actually between 1957 and 1975, I hope I'm getting my dates right here, they actually had an in-house malt whisky distillery called Kinclave, and after that became silent, and so Glasgow for then round about the next 39-40 years had no malt whisky distilleries, which is phenomenal, bearing in mind its history and how large the population is, and the hustle and bustle and the to and fro of that large area, being known as a economical industry hub. The distilleries, of course, fed the hard-working dockers and everybody else who had to work in mills and every sort of industry that you could imagine that was Victorian Britain. If we come away from that and go back to the Clydeside Distillery, you will find it today located in a pump house which overlooks the Queen's Docks, and if anyone's not been to that area, I thoroughly recommend you give it a look. There is an intersperse of listed old Victorian buildings with massive rejuvenation in the area, and nearby, if you're trying to look for a marker for anyone who's venturing down there by foot trying to find it, look for a BBC Scotland building. It's a big building and you can't go far wrong. Now, the pump house dates from 1877 and was actually, there's kind of like a reoccurring family theme here, which is nice. It was built by the Morrisons family, who later went on to become Beaumont Morrisons, and the family behind that have played their hand in developing their brands, their individual bottlings and everything in between, and they have kind of decided to bring back distilling into the heart of Glasgow, not forgetting then just obviously across the way from them as well you do have the Glasgow Distillery Company Limited, so it really is kind of bringing back a kind of spiritual home for whiskey, as it were. Now, the in 2011, Morrison's Glasgow Distillery, led by Tim Morrison as chairman, with his son Andrew as the commercial director, get my words out, and Glenmore as managing director, purchased the site of the pump house. Originally the plant was going to be called, or the area was going to be called, the Glasgow Distillery, but excavation complications arose from the infield of the Queen's Docks, which halted construction for quite a long period of time. Work event finally began on the Clydeside Distillery, which took place, I believe, probably the ceremonial cutting of the first sod, or turning over of the first bit of ground to change and convert the pump house, which I think when I did the tour, I think somebody mentioned that previously, up until just before 2016, it had been used as an Indian karaoke club / Indian restaurant. So the building has many kind of lives, as it were. However, fast forward, and on the 6th of November 2017, the distillery site, or first distillation, was carried out, and with the visitor centre opening just shortly after, on the 23rd of November 2017. Now, facts and figures, as you know, I always, if I can, I like to throw in my facts and figures. The capacity of it is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is 500,000 litres per annum, but check and see if I've got that right. If not, I'll drop a comment in the box below. Fermentation times are 72 hours. They actually have a semi-lauter mash tun, which is brilliant, and the wash still is 8,000 litres, and they charge, or they fill that all the way up to 8,000, and the spirit still is 5,000 litres. All the maturation is taken off site because it is a very small site, so it's all taken away in tankers for further maturation, dotted around Scotland. Washbacks, not forgetting them, they've got 8 in total, and the water source is Loch Katrine, which is located up on some hills, I believe, to the north of Glasgow. So, the two expressions I have for you today are these, and yes, there is no label, but the very kind folk at the distillery gave me these. So, we're going to do a back-to-back. Hopefully my palate doesn't become too saturated. Now, they've got their, if I remember this one rightly, I'm having to look at the colours here just to remember. So this one's a lot more paler, so this is actually their COP26 release, which is a limited edition, obviously for COP26, which was the phenomenal success of promoting climate change, and the other one is their exclusive distillery only cask fill your own bottle expression, which is really interesting. A little bit more darker there, so and a lot more stronger, but we'll come on to that one a little bit later. So let's do the COP26 first, and let's see what comes up. Save a little bit for later, just in case I need to come back to it, or hopefully if I can get this in one hit and give you a good enough description, then we won't need to delve into the other bit, and I can save that for another day. So let's give it a go. Now, I'd love to hear in the comments below whether or not anybody here has actually had a chance to visit any distilleries themselves recently, and their experiences of what they find fascinating about visiting a distillery. So here we go. Colour, hopefully the glass is clean enough and the sunlight's just coming through. It's almost like I would describe that as almost like a straw, or like a bleached gold. So The alcohol is very potent on it, and I just had to back off very quickly then, because actually that slightly overwhelmed the senses a bit. So I'm almost kind of getting a mixture of, there's vanilla in there, there's grape peel and apple peel. I don't want to sound lazy with the description, but it's kind of, it's fresh, and it's clean, and it's crisp. Okay. The body is very bold, really actually spicy, really spicy, almost like it's, I don't know if it has, but it almost feels like it possibly been in like a virgin cask, possibly, don't know, virgin oak cask, because it's really bold, and it's really kind of assertive. I'm just trying to give you some really good tasting notes, but it's actually really, it's delightfully complicated. Yeah, so there's a um, there's a bitterness about it. There's a almost like a polished oak that's really really quite profuse. On the finish, hangs in there very long. There's almost the finish. There's like a a peppery, grassy note, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, very dry, crisp finish. It's complicated. It's possibly a whiskey, I think, that might open up a lot more with water. I'll be honest, it's complex, and I'm also struggling to kind of being able to decipher that. But yeah, it's a very bold whiskey, very dry and crisp, and something that I think if you like a lot of vanilla, if you like grassy notes, yeah, that's probably one for you to try. It's not yielding much. Okay, so that was the COP26. It's not to say that it's lacking in flavour when I say it's not yielding much. What I'm trying to say is that it's a complicated whiskey. However, it's very diverse, and that's going to take a lot more studying to kind of really come to appreciate the complexities and the nuances within inside that whiskey. So I'm hoping, just hoping, fingers crossed, that the distillery's bottle your own cask, this one I believe was 60.6 alcohol by volume, so this is going to be very, very bold. If I just quickly put the two together there, you can see, yeah, so more lighter there, bourbon, and this one here more possibly sherry orientated. Let's give it a go and see what we find. Good thing the cap was screwed on there, that could have been a messy end to the video. So, like I say, got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping I'll be able to do you guys a little bit more proud on this, because I like this one, the first one, the COP26. However, it's a very complicated whiskey, and I was struggling to be able to decipher it. So what I might do is, to help me with this one, is just pour a little bit onto my skim, burn the alcohol off, and just see what we get out of this. Because if the other one was a challenge for me, this one could very heavily become a challenge too. Okay, right, let's see what happens then. So, colour, get in there. It's kind of a little bit more dusk, sunset kind of colour. Yeah, dusk. Let's go dusk, sunset as a colour. Now straight away, it's very probably odd description, but straight away I'm getting dried dark fruits, and it almost tastes like, to me, like Skittles, or the smell is like a handful of Skittle sweets. Almost like, yeah, kind of a processed confectionery, almost like a candy. Okay, it's interesting. The body, compared to the COP26, a lot more lighter. A lot more lighter. And interestingly enough, I think the COP26, that, I know I keep referring back to that, but that actually, as I said, I had to back off because the alcohol sting really kicked in. Whereas this, which I believe is higher alcohol by volume, the bottle your own at the distillery, I think it's not as aggressive, it's not as potent, it's mellowed a lot. So definitely on the finish, it's very short and sweet to the point. It is sweet, and it's barley sweet, fantastic. Almost plain a little bit. There's almost like, it feels like there's a little bit of, to me, like it's almost like there's a background bit of cocoa chocolate, but at the same time that sweetness is almost like a kind of a barbecue sauce, which I know might sound a little bit kind of bizarre. And the more I go back to that nose as well, and hopefully it's not the COP26 kicking in, but it's sweet, pleasant, soft, mellow, and but the peppers there. Yeah, almost marshmallowy, malty sweetness, bit of cocoa chocolate in the back, and yeah, still just that kind of bit of almost like very wisp of like barbecue sauce kicking in there. Really, really fascinating. Never had anything like that before. So guys, that's gone on a little bit longer than I intended. I do hope if you get the chance, definitely go and meet these guys down in Queen's Dock, right down in the docks of Glasgow. It's a fantastic place to be. The pump house is a brilliant viewing platform from the still house. It looks right out over to the water. It's very kind of idyllic setting, and I think these guys are going to go far. They are bringing out some really interesting whiskies, very pleasant, very easy drinkers, dangerously easy drinkers, I would describe that as. Possibly because for me, especially knowing my nature, because it's not yielding so much that I can decipher, and maybe because that's the high alcohol levels, it kind of, I would want to keep exploring their whiskies until I could kind of almost start to crack or decipher exactly what they're giving out. So yeah, that's it. The Clydeside Distillery Company, go check them out. Wonderful whiskies, light, easy, pleasant, and almost very kind of sticking to like the lowland style of whiskey. Soft, buttery, mellow, relaxed. Give them a go and see what you find. So guys, hopefully I will have another whiskey tasting review for you sometime soon. As ever, if you've got any questions, please do drop them in the comments box below. And if you would like me to try and talk to you about anything, or you would like information on something, drop us a comment or a suggestion in the box below. If you think I've missed out something that's ultra important to you, please also do leave us a comment. So, because it's always good to interact. The best thing about whiskey is that it is a social lubricant, and one that kind of we can all jump on board. And even if we have a difference of opinion, it's everybody's opinion matters, and it's a fun little thing to do. So that's it, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, keep safe, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Bye for now.